Alex stood in the middle of the alien battlefield, the harsh wind blowing dust into his face. His heart pounded, but it wasn't fear that made it race. It was something else, something he couldn't quite explain. His team, a group of elite soldiers from Earth, were surrounded by the enemy. Alien ships hovered above them, their dark shadows stretching across the barren ground. The aliens, massive, terrifying creatures with eyes that glowed like fire, stood in a perfect circle around them. It felt like a nightmare, one that they couldn't escape from. The men and women beside Alex were tense, their weapons aimed at the creatures, but everyone knew there was no chance of winning this fight. The numbers were too great, and the aliens' technology far surpassed anything humanity had ever seen. In the distance, Alex could hear the hum of the alien ships. He turned his gaze back to the creatures in front of him, trying to calm his racing thoughts. This was it. This was the end. There was no way out. And yet, for some reason, Alex couldn't bring himself to feel afraid. His comrades, who had trained for moments like this, were starting to panic. Their breaths came out in short, rapid bursts, and their hands shook as they held their weapons. They exchanged worried glances, silently questioning if they would make it out alive. Alex could feel the tension mounting in the air, thick and suffocating. But he remained still, his face expressionless, his body calm. He didn't feel the fear everyone else seemed to be gripped by. One of his team members, Sergeant Harris, whispered in a shaky voice, "What are we going to do, Alex? We can't win this." Alex didn't reply. Instead, he stood a little straighter, his mind racing through every possibility. He knew there was no escape, no way to fight back. They were too outnumbered, too outgunned. The only thing they could do now was face their deaths. But for some reason, Alex didn't feel fear. He just waited. The aliens slowly closed in on them, their massive feet crushing the dry earth with each step. The leader, a creature taller than the others, stepped forward. It had skin like black stone, with piercing red eyes that seemed to burn right through Alex. The alien's voice echoed in his mind, sharp and cold. "You are not welcome here, human." Alex's mind didn't race with thoughts of fear. Instead, it was filled with something else, something he couldn't place. He stared at the alien leader. The only thing he saw now was a creature that, like him, was standing on the brink of something. The alien's voice came again, this time louder. "Surrender now. It will be easier for you. We have no need for your kind here." There it was, the ultimatum. But instead of feeling terrified, Alex's heart steadied. He wasn't sure why, but the words didn't affect him the way they were meant to. He was the last person who should feel calm, yet he felt more in control than ever before. "Alex," Harris's voice trembled beside him. "What do we do?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked at his teammates, their faces filled with fear. They were all waiting for him to give some kind of order, to tell them what to do. But Alex couldn't find the words. They were going to die. It was that simple. There was no escape from the reality of this moment. And yet, Alex stood tall, unshaken. He finally spoke, his voice steady, almost as if he were speaking to himself rather than his team. "There's nothing we can do. We've already lost." His words hung in the air, heavy with truth. His team looked at him, their faces filled with disbelief. They expected orders, hope, some kind of plan. But Alex gave them none. Instead, he offered them something they didn't expect: acceptance. He had made peace with the situation in a way none of them could understand. For a moment, there was silence. The alien stood still, watching him, as if waiting for something. The tension between the two sides grew thicker, almost suffocating. And then, just as the leader raised its hand, signaling the attack, something changed. Alex took a step forward, his eyes never leaving the aliens. His body moved without thinking, his mind caught in a strange state of calm. He was ready for death, but he would face it without fear. The alien seemed to hesitate, its red eyes narrowing. The creature, so certain of its power just moments ago, now seemed unsure. Alex's confidence in the face of certain death unnerved it. The battle had not yet begun, but in that brief moment, the alien leader knew something was different about this human. The first attack came. The aliens raised their weapons, and the sound of energy blasts filled the air. But Alex didn't flinch. He didn't try to run. He just stood there, unafraid. And it was enough to stop the alien leader in its tracks. And in that silence, as the first blast narrowly missed him, Alex realized that death was no longer something to fear. It was just the next step. And whatever came next, he would face it without hesitation. His team, their eyes wide with shock, watched as he stood tall, a soldier to the end, ready for what came next. The battlefield was quiet for a moment, like the world was holding its breath. Alex stood without moving, still staring into the eyes of the alien leader. Around him, his team didn't understand what was happening. They were ready to fight, ready to die. But Alex wasn't moving. He didn't raise his gun. He didn't shout orders. He just watched. And the aliens didn't fire again. The leader, confused by Alex's calmness, lowered its arm slowly. The rest of the alien army waited, looking at their leader for a signal. But none came. Something was wrong. This wasn't how humans were supposed to act. The alien leader, known by its people as Tkor, stepped closer. It studied Alex carefully. Tkor had faced many enemies across the stars. Most screamed or begged when surrounded. But this human was different. He wasn't afraid. His team was ready to fight. But Alex was still, quiet, watching. Tkor's voice echoed again inside Alex's mind. Why do you not fear death, human? Do you not understand what is coming? Alex didn't answer right away. He looked at the strange alien leader. Its armor was dark and thick like stone. Its eyes glowed red, filled with fire and hate. But Alex didn't flinch. He simply replied, I understand. I just don't care anymore. Tkor tilted its head, confused. This answer was not normal. Humans cared deeply about their lives. They cried, they screamed, they ran. But this one was ready. And he was calm. That scared the alien more than any weapon. Behind Alex, Sergeant Harris took a few steps forward. What's going on? He asked quietly. Why aren't they attacking? Alex didn't look back. I think they're waiting for us to break. They want to see what we'll do. The aliens, hundreds of them, were still holding their weapons. Their ships hovered above, casting huge shadows. The ground trembled from their weight. Their technology was far ahead of anything Earth had. Even one of their weapons could destroy a whole squad in seconds. But still, they waited. Still, they watched Alex. Lieutenant Vega whispered, They're studying us. Like we're some kind of test. Alex nodded. Yes, and maybe that's exactly what this is, a test. Suddenly, a strange humming sound filled the air. One of the alien ships lowered, its lights flashing. A group of armored aliens stepped out, carrying a large device. It was glowing, humming softly. It looked like a bomb, or maybe a machine for mind control. No one could tell. The soldiers raised their weapons again, ready to fire if needed. But Alex raised a hand, stopping them. Wait, he said. Let's see what they're doing. The aliens placed the machine in the center of the battlefield. Then they stepped back. The glow from the device became brighter. A wave of energy moved through the air. Everyone on the human side felt it. It didn't hurt, but it was heavy. Like something was pushing down on their thoughts, pressing deep into their minds. Suddenly, the humans began to hear voices, not spoken aloud, but inside their heads. It wasn't just one voice. It was many. Dozens, hundreds, all whispering at once. Why do you fight? You will lose. There is no victory. Surrender. Serve. We bring order. You bring chaos. The whispers tried to break their will. Some soldiers dropped to their knees, holding their heads. Others screamed, firing blindly into the air. The aliens didn't move. They just watched. It was clear now. They didn't want to fight. They wanted to control. But Alex didn't fall. The voices entered his mind too, but he stood firm. He listened, but he didn't believe them. His thoughts stayed clear. He looked at the glowing machine and stepped forward. Every alien turned toward him. He didn't stop. Step by step, he walked closer to the machine. Tkor finally spoke again, louder this time. "Stop. If you touch it, you will die." Alex looked at the alien leader. "I don't care," he said. "I won't kneel. Not to you. Not to anyone." And then something strange happened. The machine's glow flickered. The voices in the humans' minds stopped. The energy changed. It was like Alex's will, his resistance, broke something inside the device. The aliens stepped back in shock. The whispers were gone. The humans who had fallen to the ground slowly looked up, confused but free. Alex stood next to the machine, untouched, calm, strong. The silence returned. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the wind stopped for a moment. Tkor stared at Alex, for the first time unsure. "You are not what we expected," it said. Alex simply replied, "You came here thinking we would kneel. But we don't kneel. Not to fear. Not to death." And with those words, the battlefield changed. The aliens were no longer in control. They had the numbers. They had the technology. But they didn't have the one thing Alex carried: unshakable courage. Alex stood beside the alien machine, his heart steady. The glowing lights on the device dimmed slowly, like it had lost its power. Around him, the alien army was silent. Their weapons were still raised, but none of them moved. His team, shaken but now free from the voices, watched him with wide eyes. Something had changed. The aliens had tried to break their minds, but Alex stood firm, and that strength had pushed the fear back. For the first time, the aliens looked unsure. The alien leader, Tkor, stepped forward. Its armor made a heavy sound with each step, like metal crushing stone. It towered over Alex, its red eyes glowing brighter than before. The silence between them was heavy. Everyone felt it. The soldiers, both human and alien, stopped breathing for a moment, waiting for what would happen next. Tkor spoke again, but this time aloud, not just in Alex's mind. Its voice was deep and cold. "You should have broken, human. You should be kneeling." Alex looked up at the tall creature, unshaken. "I don't kneel," he said softly. Tkor raised one of its sharp, clawed hands. "You are brave, but bravery without power is useless." Alex took a step forward. "You don't understand humans. We don't fight because we always win. We fight because we believe in something bigger than ourselves." Tkor narrowed its eyes. "What do you believe in? You are about to die." Alex's voice didn't shake. "I believe in freedom. In standing up, even when it's hopeless. You can kill me, but you won't control us. You already failed." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sudden roar, Tkor charged. The alien's heavy body moved like a hammer crashing forward. Alex didn't run. He stood his ground, even as the massive creature raised a glowing weapon. The team behind him shouted, some firing their weapons, but the blasts bounced off Tkor's armor. It was too fast, too strong. At the last second, Alex moved. Not to run, but to dodge. The alien's weapon slammed into the ground where he had been standing. The ground cracked. Dust and rock exploded upward. Alex rolled and came to his feet, breathing hard but still calm. He didn't have the strength to fight this creature hand to hand, but he didn't need to. He just had to hold it back. Show it that humans didn't break. Tkor turned, growling. "You think you can stand against me, alone?" Alex smiled slightly. "I'm not alone." Behind him, the other soldiers began to move, slowly at first, then faster. They raised their weapons, not to fire wildly, but to back Alex up. The fear that had filled them before was fading. They saw him standing there, facing death without fear, and it gave them strength. Harris stepped beside Alex, weapon ready. Vega followed. One by one, the team stood in a line behind their leader. Tikor stared at them, its red eyes burning. "You will all fall." Alex shook his head. "We already stood, and that's what you're afraid of." The alien leader roared again, louder this time. It raised its weapon, glowing brighter than before. But before it could strike, the machine beside Alex flashed. A pulse of energy burst out, stopping Tikor in its tracks. The machine had reacted to Alex again. Something about his mind, his will, was affecting it. The glow spread out, a wave of blue light passing through the battlefield. The alien soldiers stepped back, confused. Some even lowered their weapons. Their connection to the machine was breaking. Alex turned toward Tikor. "You lost the moment you tried to control us." Kor growled low, its claws tightening around its weapon. "You are a virus. Your kind spreads chaos." "No," Alex replied. "We spread hope." With a final shout, Tikor charged again. This time, Alex didn't move. He stood firm. The light from the machine grew stronger. And just as the alien was about to strike, the energy exploded outward. A blinding wave of light swallowed the battlefield. When it cleared, Tikor was on the ground, motionless. Its armor was cracked. The red glow in its eyes was gone. Alex stood over the fallen leader, breathing slowly. His team ran toward him, shouting his name, checking if he was hurt. But he was still standing. Alive, unbroken. The alien soldiers didn't move. Without their leader, without the machine's power, they looked lost. Some of them dropped their weapons. Others simply walked away. The battle was over. Alex didn't celebrate. He looked down at Tikor and said quietly, "You thought fear was power, but real power is standing when everything says you should fall." The team around him nodded in silence. They had just seen something more powerful than weapons, human will. And Alex had carried it like a shield. The war wasn't over yet, but something had changed. The enemy had seen what humans could do, and they would never forget it. The battlefield was quiet now. The dust settled slowly in the air. Alien weapons lay on the ground, untouched. The alien soldiers were still, their glowing eyes dimmer than before. Some looked confused, some looked afraid. Their leader, Tikor, lay at Alex's feet, defeated but not dead. Its armor was cracked, its strength gone. The machine that had tried to control human minds was silent now. The lights on it were dark. It would never work again. Alex stood still, his body tired but his spirit strong. His team gathered around him, weapons still in their hands, but there was no more need to fight. Harris put a hand on Alex's shoulder. "You did it," he said softly. "You stopped them." Alex shook his head slowly. "No, we did it. All of us. Together." Vega looked at the silent alien army. "What happens now?" Alex didn't answer right away. He looked up at the alien ships still hovering above. He could see the lights in the windows. He knew more were watching. Commanders, leaders, maybe even higher powers. They had all expected Earth to fall. They had expected humans to be weak. But now they had seen something else, something they didn't understand, something they feared. Alex stepped forward and climbed onto a small hill of broken stone and metal. He stood tall and raised his voice. He wasn't just speaking to his team now. He was speaking to the galaxy. "We're not perfect," he said. "We've made mistakes. We've fought each other. But when we're pushed, we stand together. You thought you could control us. You thought fear would break us. But fear only made us stronger." The alien soldiers listened. They didn't move. Some looked at each other, unsure. Others stared at Alex like they were seeing him for the first time. "We don't want to destroy," Alex continued. "But we won't be slaves. Not to machines. Not to fear, not to anyone. A soft wind blew across the field. The words hung in the air, heavy and powerful. Then, something surprising happened. One of the alien soldiers stepped forward. It dropped its weapon. Slowly, it raised both hands. A sign of peace. More followed. One by one, alien soldiers dropped their weapons. Some knelt. Others simply turned and walked away. The machine's power over them was gone, and now they were thinking for themselves. Some looked ashamed. Some looked free. Takor, still weak, looked up at Alex. Its voice was quiet now, no longer full of power. "Why did you not kill me?" Alex looked down. "Because that's not who we are. You came here thinking we were animals. But we are human. We don't kill just to win." Takor looked confused, almost lost. "You would spare an enemy." "We believe in something more," Alex said. "You can destroy a body, but not a belief, not an idea." Takor lowered its head. For the first time, it said nothing. High above, the alien ships slowly pulled back. One by one, they rose higher into the sky. They had seen enough. They didn't fire. They didn't fight. They left. Back on the ground, the team began to help the wounded. They moved among both humans and aliens. No one stopped them. It was like the war had ended, not with more weapons, but with a message. Later that night, around a small fire in the middle of the broken battlefield, Alex sat with his team. They didn't laugh. They didn't cheer. They were quiet, thinking about what had just happened. Harris looked at Alex. "What now? Do you think they'll come back?" Alex stared into the fire. "Maybe. But next time, they'll know who we are." Vega nodded. "You didn't just save us. You told the universe something." Alex looked up at the stars. "I didn't do it alone. All of us, we stood. And we'll stand again if we have to." Above them, the stars shined bright. Somewhere out there, other eyes had watched. Other minds had listened. And Alex's words would spread. The story of the human who faced death without fear. The man who stood in silence but spoke louder than any army. And in that moment, under the cold night sky, the galaxy changed. Not because Earth had stronger weapons, but because Earth had something more powerful. Unbreakable human spirit. The sun rose over the battlefield, casting soft light on broken metal, burned earth, and silence. The war was over, but the memory of what happened there would never be forgotten. Soldiers walked slowly between the remains of the alien machines, helping each other, cleaning up, and burying their dead. But the most powerful memory wasn't of blood or destruction. It was of a man who stood in front of death and didn't flinch. Alex walked through the field quietly. He didn't wear his helmet now. His face was tired, his clothes torn, and his body covered in dirt and bruises. But his eyes were calm. His heart was steady. He had faced the worst and didn't back down. And because of him, Earth still stood. Messages were already spreading through every human base. Videos, recordings, words. Soldiers told the story again and again. How their commander stood alone. How he walked toward the alien mind machine without fear. And how he looked into the eyes of a powerful alien leader and didn't kneel. Some called it a miracle. Others said it was madness. But everyone agreed on one thing. It was real. It happened. Even among the enemy, the story began to spread. Not every alien had agreed with the invasion. Many had been forced to follow orders. But now, with the machine destroyed and their leader defeated, they began to talk. The human who did not fear death had become a symbol, not just to his own people, but to others across the stars. Some started to question everything they had been told. Alex sat alone near a piece of the broken alien machine. It no longer glowed. It was just metal and wires now. Quiet. Dead. A general from Earth's Central Command approached him, walking slowly, unsure how to begin. His name was General Price. He had heard all the reports, but seeing Alex in person was different. You did something no one else could, the general said. Alex didn't look up. I did what I had to. You saved Earth. Alex shook his head slowly. No, we saved each other. The general sat beside him. You could have died. Everyone thought you would. I thought so too, Alex said. But I wasn't afraid. Not because I wanted to die, but because I knew what we were standing for. That's more important than being afraid. The general was quiet for a long time. Then he said, people will remember this forever. What you said, what you did, it's being shared everywhere. Alex looked out at the horizon. I didn't say those things to be remembered. I said them because they were true. That evening, a large meeting was held. Soldiers gathered in the field where the final stand had taken place. A signal was sent out, a broadcast to space. Not a threat, not a challenge, just a message, a human message. Alex stood in front of a camera. He wasn't wearing medals. He didn't want a speech written for him. He just spoke from the heart. If you're out there, he said, and you think we're weak because we feel fear, then you don't understand us. Fear doesn't control us. It reminds us of what matters, of what we're willing to protect. You can come with weapons. You can come with machines. You can even come with power that shakes the ground. But we won't kneel. We won't be broken, because we are human, and when we stand together, we are stronger than fear. The message went out to every ship in orbit, every listening ear, every watching eye. And somewhere far away, leaders of alien worlds saw it. Some were angry, some were afraid, but many were silent, thinking. After the speech, Alex returned to his team. They didn't say much. They just sat around the fire, like they always had. But something was different now, not just in them, but in the world. Later, Harris leaned toward Alex. What you said today, it shook them, even the aliens. Alex looked up at the stars. Good, maybe now they'll understand. We're not just here to survive. We're here to live free. And above them, in the quiet night sky, stars watched in silence. The story of a man who faced death without fear had become more than just words. It had become a warning, a promise, and a light in the darkness. Wherever fear ruled, this story would challenge it. Wherever power crushed the weak, this voice would rise. And wherever someone felt alone in the fight, they would remember him. He didn't just survive the war. He changed it. Forever.